Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the Silver Room. Silver in color, but gold in our hearts. Hashtag silver beats gold. We are going to dive in immediately because this is a jam-packed session. So if you like your sessions not at all jam-packed, Copper Room, because this is going to be a full-on bit of thinking, inspiration, and ideas. In fact, today we'll be exploring the crucial role of local and regional authorities in advancing the circular economy through bottom-up, community-driven initiatives. We'll focus on effective strategies like acceleration, replication, scaling, and monitoring successful projects. My expectation, and I haven't been wrong yet, my expectation is for us all to walk away with insights into overcoming challenges in public-private partnerships, financial management, and measuring circular progress, as well as taking away valuable, actionable lessons from the field aimed at fostering sustainable practices across governance levels. Does that sound like what folks are interested in today? Excellent, then we'll proceed. Otherwise, I had a whole B plan. Well, let us jump right in. To sort of set the stage for things, I would like to introduce a member of the EESC. Please welcome Zsolt Kuketi. Zsolt.
Thank you very much for the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the afternoon session of the second day of this wonderful conference. Let me thank all the organizers and special thanks to the members of the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform Coordination Group for making it happen. Now we are turning to the local reality. The cities and regions play a crucial role in advancing the circular economy goals and driving systemic change at national, regional, and local level. My name is Zsolt Kuketi. I am a Hungarian member of ESC, a European Economic and Social Committee, House of Civil Society, as we call it. We act as advisory body that reflects the role of the civil society in the EU legislative processes. One of the ESC flagship initiatives in collaboration with the European Commission is the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform, and established in 2017. Over the years, this platform has evolved into a comprehensive hub, serving as a central resource for circular economic community within the EU and beyond. Its success lies in its stakeholder-driven approach, making a truly valuable asset. In the morning, Olivia Lazard spoke about interdependencies in economy. This is my favorite terminology. I dependent on the moderator, I dependent on the panelists, I dependent on you. By the way, thank you for choosing us and coming. And today in this panel, we discuss how and what supporting initiatives are being used in cities and regions in their transition toward the circular economy. How we use these interdependencies locally. Little communities, villages, cities and regions can be seen as circular catalysts. They lead by example, bring diverse stakeholders together, support them directly, provide access to relevant funding, identify territorial bottlenecks, set clear framework conditions, and provide incentives for and facilitate circular solutions. For me, they are the local heroes. They can assess the local reality by their community-driven and multi-stakeholder approach and coordinate the different governance levels. So they can help villages, cities, and regions identify and prioritize actions that would have a greater circular impact. The various speakers today will share their circular solutions and highlight key aspects to take the next steps to a fully circular economy. Our situation is not easy, almost impossible, as we saw from Mr. Potočnik yesterday morning introductory presentation. But before I give back the floor to the moderator, I would like to quote a famous sentence from Albert Einstein. Everybody knew it was impossible until a fool who didn't know came along and did it. My local heroes, I know a lot of them, but they do a great job. Maybe foolish, but do a great job. Impossible? Shh. Let's listen to them. Thanks.
Now we want to continue setting the stage with a presentation of a report on accelerating the circular economy in Europe. It's my pleasure to welcome the head of Group Clean and Circular Economy for EEA. Please welcome Daniel Montalvo. Daniel.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here with us. I think this conference is a fantastic place for an organization like mine to outreach on our messages, but it's been even better for listening to the community. And I think there are two things I learned in the last day and a half that can be useful for framing what we are discussing today. One thing is that a lot of what has to happen to implement the concept of a circular economy in Europe and well beyond Europe has to happen in cities and regions. Even yesterday, someone put a percentage for that, 70%. I don't know if that's correct, but I agree that a great deal of what needs to happen will happen in the regional and city level. Second thing is that here we all agree on certain principles, but it's good that we also tell ourselves some truths. And we heard earlier today that we need to really move away from this focus on recycling, because there are many limits to it, because there are externalities associated to that activity. It's a great tool, but the circular economy is a lot about upstream transformations in the life cycle of things, in the way we build models in our businesses and so on. And I have just one slide to present. I don't know if I have to click there. Perhaps it is there. So these are the main things I want to say in the very few minutes I have with you. On the one hand, we need to stress what we mean by circular economy together. And we have this vision of a low-carbon, climate-neutral economy, where resource use is low, and I think this bit is not so much understood by everybody. Where recirculation is high, that's the part where everybody agrees. And then the material flow is clean, which is also something that is emerging as an important concept of the circular economy. To achieve that vision, we recently published this report that you see there, Accelerating the Circular Economy in Europe, a State and Outlook 2024, and you have a QR code there to look and read it all, I hope. And there are four key messages that I think try to tell the community what we think is important in terms of redefining efforts. The first one is that we are calling for looking into the amount of resource use that we need to run our economy, to run our society. This is an aspect that was discussed many times during this day and a half. It has to do with sufficiency. It has to do with the way we build our business models. It has to do with the dematerialization of our economy. And I think this is something that we can now start talking about constructively. So the circular economy transition is not only about technology, it's also about societal innovation and change. And then once we've looked into that, we also have to recognize the importance of recirculating materials. The nuance that we are bringing as an organization here is that not all ways of recirculating materials are good. We need to do it in high-quality applications so that we retain value. Another very important thing is stressing this change in the life cycle across it all. So this means that circular economy is also about time and value. And we have some ideas as to what this means and how this can be action. And then something else that we learned through the day and a half together is that Europe alone cannot really make the trick. We need the world around us, and that's why we need to be a positive agent in establishing a robust global framework for material use and circular economy at planetary scale. So if I want you to remember three things from everything that I said, the one thing would be the transition is not only about technology. Technology will play a role, but technology needs to be also accompanied by societal change. This means that everybody needs to change their mindset. Businesses need to change the way they make money. Citizens need to also change the way they spend it. And policymakers need to also change the way they write policy, because governance and policy needs to be different in a circular economy than it is in a linear economy. And I could speak more about that. And the third thing, we need to do this with citizens. This means that a transition that works will be a just transition. This is within Europe, but also with our trading partners, with which we have to be constructive. There's a lot more, 100 pages reports that I hope you enjoy, and thank you very much for having me today.
100 pages in 5 minutes is pretty impressive. Our journey into the world of regional thinking is going to begin with a regional case study, the case of Flanders. And to do that, I invite to the stage the transition manager of the circular economy for Circular Flanders, Brigitte Molinau. Brigitte.
I would like to thank the organizers for having us here, and that we have the opportunity to present the case of Circular Flanders. I guess I'm one of the fools who started a few years ago with Circular Flanders. Circular Flanders is a public-private partnership working in Flanders. Flanders is the northern part of Belgium, for those who didn't know. It's just, well, here, close to Brussels. We had our common goals in our partnership of decoupling the material footprint from consumption by 2030. We wanted to reduce our material footprint by 30% towards 2030. And we realized that this is a major challenge, and we can't do it from the policy side, we can't do it alone from the private side, so it has to be a public-private effort all the way. And that's what we do. We have a steering committee that is also where we have representatives from the government, from industry, from the research facilities in Belgium, the civil society, and the financial sector, also the financial sector. It is major, it's a major deal that they are present, because we really need them to invest in circular projects, not linear projects. So what do we do together? We have 6 strategic agendas. And in each of these agendas, we try to work out the common goals, work paths, and we try to experiment. But it's not enough. If we want to scale up these experiments, it is very important that we also work on the barriers. So what do? First, we work on policy and policy instruments. Are they good enough? What do we need to change in our legislation? And with whom do we need to work together? So we work on the Flemish level, we work very well on the federal level, we work with the European partners, but we also work with the local level, very important for the implementation as well. We work on circular procurement, because the demand side, we really need to change it. We work on communication and reporting, because we really need to show the good examples. We need to show the instruments they can use to change it. We put in research. We put in innovation and entrepreneurship. What is the part innovation and entrepreneurship? We try to organize even our projects in this combination of the pentahelix. So we organize living labs or smaller projects, but everywhere we need to organize it together with civil society, with researchers, with the local communities, and so on. So that is a bit the difference in how we do it. Of course, we work with the finances, and then we have a whole trajectory on jobs and skills, because we have to make sure that this transition is a just transition. So just transition, everybody needs to be ready. And there are a lot of opportunities for everybody in the circular economy. That's the good part. So partnership throughout the ecosystems. I'm very proud to present just one case, and that is the social and circular hubs in Flanders. We've realized that we have to go more locally, and on the local level, we make a match between the social economy, who work with people who have a certain distance to the normal labor markets, and the circular economy. And the circular economy, that means that we connect SMEs and companies with the members of the social economy to make sure that both of them work together on the next steps of this circular economy. It has been very fruitful. A lot of projects came out. We also have these kind of hubs where people come together, meet each other, learn from each other. It becomes very lively. Also, the local cities and regions, they really work on this part to give more incentives to these groups. Then maybe a final one where we put a lot of effort in is research and monitoring. Of course, when you have specific goals, the 30% towards 2030, it's very interesting, but if you can't measure them, what's it worth? So we have an important research center, the CE Center, and these researchers, that is a cooperation of different research institutes in Flanders. They worked on a CE monitor, the Circular Economy Monitor Flanders. You can visit them. It's also in English. The reports behind it are also often in English, so please feel free to look into that. It's 120 indicators already, and they're looking for new indicators in the meantime. Just maybe my final message to you is, if you change the economy, circular economy is changing the economy, you need to change society. So if you want to change society, you need this systemic approach, and you need to get involved, this pentahelix. Work together at all levels in these kind of hubs, and then we can move forward. I would also like to invite you for the day tomorrow, where we have the Circular Economy Forum in the framework of the Belgian presidency. There we continue with more examples on how we can go beyond the experimentation. So I'm looking forward to meet you all tomorrow again, and thank you for having me here.
All right, I'm going to stroll casually into this living room setup that we've got here, because it's time for us to start our panel discussion, and I'm going to invite up the panel. And then I didn't know I was going to walk right through the projection, so it looked a little sloppy. Sorry about that. Let me welcome to the stage, and joining me taking your seats, first of all, the General Director of Energy, RDI, and Entrepreneurship for Navarra Circular, Oksoi Itos. Come on up and give her a round of applause. The Vice Mayor of Emmen, Guido Rink. Absolutely, I can't do it. I've got a tablet in my hand. Senior Project Manager in Sustainable Innovation Area in ARTER in Emilia-Romagna. That is, of course, Daniela Sani. And the Ministry of the Environment, Climate, and Energy in the Slovenian region. Please welcome Janja Ribic. Welcome, panel. Now I'm going to take a seat. Now look, I'm going to slide around here, and also maybe you want to kind of angle it around, so because I want it to feel like a conversation. I'm going to encourage us all, respond to each other. This isn't just an opportunity to read your cards and show your slides, though we certainly will. But what I really want you to do is, in this first beginning, when you're all sort of making your thesis statements, listen to each other, and I challenge you to come up with a question for at least one of the other panelists for the discussion. Same challenge for y'all. Come up with questions. We're hoping to have time for a Q&A, so whether you're watching online and using the app, whether you're in the room and introverted and using the app, or whether you just love to hear yourself talk and want to stand up and ask your question the old-fashioned way, they're all welcome. We welcome all questions. The first question is, rather than think of it as a question, I want to think of it as a journey, right? It's a journey because you all represent different regions. Right? So the question is, what is your region doing to support a circular economy? And I say we start our journey in northern Spain, in the Navarra region, with Oksoi.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me. As you said, I work in the government in Navarra. Maybe you don't know where is Navarra, but Navarra is in the north of Spain. It's a small region that is bordered with France. So, and we have one of the lowest unemployment rate in Spain, and we have we are an industrial region. We have more than 31% of our gross domestic product comes from industry. So we are a very industrial area. That is important to understand how we are working. We have the smart specialization strategy. We renewed it in 2021, and we added, we call it S3, Smart Specialization Strategy, but we add another S that was sustainability. We add this S because we want to have the sustainability in the center of the strategy, and sustainability is circular economy and energy. We also have been working in circular economy since the beginning. We have our main sectors are automotive, agro-food, and renewable energy. And we have been working in circular economy since the beginning because we have a circular agenda. And we also have been working in how to boost the circular economy in SMEs especially, because we think that we have to achieve to change from the linear economy to a circular economy since the beginning. So we are working with the environmental department and us, and we are working together to apply the circular economy in all our companies. More or less, we can continue later.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, let's continue by traveling to northern Netherlands and hear from Guido Rink.
Yes. I'm vice mayor of the municipality of Emmen. It's located in the north of the Netherlands. We're part of the Gemport Europe facility, and we have about 110,000 inhabitants, and we are the largest municipality of the province of Drenthe. And by that, with 2,000 hectares or from industrial area, we also have the biggest large industrial area in the northern of Netherlands, and one of the 5 largest in the Netherlands. The chemical industry was traditionally a strong presence in Emmen, and is one of the European leaders when it comes to the production of green plastics, composites, fibers, and yarns. And our ambition is to be the circular plastic region of Europe, but we all have, I think, the same ambition, so let's compete and get Europe together. Many partners work together to realize this ambition. As you can see behind me at the screen, we work closely with industry, chemical clusters, knowledge institutes, and also local and regional authorities, and which all comes together in our green-wise circular plastics. And we all know that the demand of plastics is increasing rapidly, and our chemical industry is developing unique innovation in the field of circular and bio-based plastics, and they are looking for solutions to solve the enormous plastic waste problem that we are facing in the Netherlands, but also in Europe and of course worldwide. And some examples of companies, Senbis, for example, is a European leader innovating in fibers from bioplastics, fibers. Their products and solutions focus on reducing microplastics pollution. For example, the fibers from the fish nets. You can do it from biodegradable plastics, and they already invented it, and now we have to scale up, and we are providing them. Another example is Park Biomaterials. They use organic waste waters, waste streams, industrial wastewater, and sewage, sludge, to create a bio-based and biodegradable alternative to plastics. It's called PHA. The most important for us as a local government is, as well as the national or European government, is to ensure that these kinds of breakthrough innovations are stimulated, but also scaled up. And our role is to create the right conditions, and so that our companies can do what they do best.
Guido, I love it. Thank you very much. Our journey now takes us to northern Italy and the Emilia-Romagna region. Daniela.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you also to inviting me to be here. Indeed, I'm representing the region. I came from Harter. This is a regional agency of the Emilia-Romagna. Emilia-Romagna is in the northeast of Italy, so a little bit toward east. And we are a green region that invests in a green economy and in circular economy since 2015. So it was a long journey. The region created this law in circular economy. It was the first law in circular economy that activates a positive process in the region, especially in terms of plastics. The plastics are quite crucial for the region because we have several value chain valorizing the plastics, such as the packaging value or the components for the automotive sector. So plastics are really crucial for the region. So we started in this concept of recycling the plastic, but when we realized that not all the plastic would be possible to be recycled, it's activated also other processes that are starting from the eco-design or the efficiency of the process. You see in the title that this is a vision for the region. Of course, it's not a reality to have a 100% of closing the loop of plastics, but it's a vision that we have. And in fact, we launched recently this plastic-free strategy that is collecting all the different initiatives that we have in the regions about plastics. That includes also the reuse and refillings activities that particularly characterize the cost of the region with the tourists and the incentivization toward the tourists that visiting our coast in this concept of reuse and refill their bottles with ours, wines or other sparkling waters. Yeah.
Thanks, Daniela. And the last stop on our regional stroll is Slovenia. Janja?
Thank you very much for inviting Slovenia to participate in this conference. Circular economy has been prioritized by Slovenian government in its last mandate. Due to the integration of the circular economy into broader policies, as well as the impact of new cross-sectoral approach of the EU policies, Slovenia is introducing a new systemic approach to circular economy. We also have some really good circular projects on the state level, as well as local and regional one. The major circular project, supported also by Slovenian government, is the deep demonstration project. The goal of this project is clear: to decarbonize Slovenia in a systemic way. In doing so, we have identified value chains that are key to decarbonization in Slovenia. These are the built environment, food, mobility, wood and forest, and manufacturing. At this point, measures for two value chains for the built environment and food are already in place, and measures for a mobility value chain are under preparation. The biggest challenge we have in this project is to look beyond the garden of just one policy. As I mentioned, there is no shortage of good local and regional projects. Bigger local communities are implemented sophisticated circular projects, for example, Ljubljana, Maribor, Kranj, while smaller local communities are trying at least to be green and sustainable. This is mainly because green public procurement regulation is mandatory in Slovenia for 22 product groups. So to conclude, Slovenia at this point has a political will, has active stakeholders, and also a new systemic approach to integrate circular policy at all levels in Slovenia.
Fantastic. Thanks to all four of you. Super interesting statements, and your slides are so chock full of detail. And I just want to say to the folks here, if you're having trouble reading some of the ambitious slides, they're all going to be up on the webpage later on the European Circular Economy Stakeholder platform. So if you want to take a closer look, the details are fantastic. But yeah, if you're sitting in the back, it's all Greek to you. Okay, I've got one question for everybody. Y'all are thinking of questions. Y'all at home are thinking of questions. And I won't call on people. You just pipe in when you've got an answer. The question for everybody is: what are the major challenges your region is facing in making the next steps toward a fully circular economy or toward the circular transition in general?
Yes, if you want, I can start. Yeah.
If you just go left to right, though, it defeats the whole purpose. But please do start.
Okay. Okay. one of the biggest challenges is to boost the circular economy among SMEs, because I think that they need to change the model, but they need to know how. They want to change it, but they need to know how, and with help they have to change. So we have a framework to achieve this objective, that is training. We have in the public university a master in circular economy. That is important because we have to be professionals working in circular economy. We also have research and development programs for circular economy. We think that some solution, a technical solution that we have to apply technological solutions. So we have programs in the government for research and development. You said before, but it's very important, financial. We have to have financial support in green economy. So we are working with our development agency in this. We also have an entrepreneurship program, a green entrepreneurship program, venture program for solve problems that maybe are not an R&D problem, but that are large open innovation, a kind of open innovation with entrepreneurship. And we also work in alliance. We need to work not only in a regional level, because maybe we have to afford a challenge that we cannot afford in a regional level, but just in a European context. So we have alliance. We have been working in a call of proposal in the Regional Innovation Valley that is based on circular economy, and we work with 9 different countries. We are the leaders of this project, and we want to start with it as soon as possible. So we have this kind of challenge, and we are working on all of them with different departments of the government of Navarra and with different collaborators, clusters, and so on.
I agree on the finance and the alliances and to support the SMEs. I totally agree. But I also think that there should be a level playing field in the world, but for example in Europe, because when you look, for example, in the waste policies, they are not clear or are not consistently defined and implemented across Europe. So issues may come and they do arise already because with the import or export of waste, and waste is also a basic need for some other products. So we have to make sure that laws and regulations stimulate circular innovations and not hindering them. So I think that's also something very important. And for example, do a tax shift for the higher costs for fossil plastics, or the labor costs downwards, the taxes on it. So you have to increase innovation and stimulate it. And I think there's a tax shift needed, and we need clear policies in Europe.
Great. I kind of want to put a pin in that, because I keep hearing people saying they want a level playing field. I'd love to get more specific on that in a moment, but first I would like to hear Daniela and Janja, in whatever order you choose, answer that first question. Oh. Damn it.
Okay, may I have the first comment to the format?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. No, yes, because when we talk about small and medium enterprises, we should also to consider to let me say, teach the small and medium enterprises how to cooperate along the value chain. I'm not saying they are not cooperating along the value chain, but as the circular economy is rather more complex in terms of interrelation and cross-value chain collaboration, that is something different for them. So they have to start to cooperate in a more transversal way, but also in a vertical way, because when we talk about circular economy, it's also we have also to consider that there's not only the level of the business, there's also the level of the citizens, the level of the policymaker, and going back to what you are saying regarding the fragmentation of the investment and the fragmentation of the standards. So going to you, I think the attractiveness of the investment is a key point for a circular economy. And the region cannot foresee to put all the money necessary for doing the transition alone. They need the collaboration of the private sector, but also they need the collaboration of the European Commission and the national level. When all these three components cooperate all together in project financing, I think the activities could happen. Yeah.
So I will go on the state level, because the data shows that Slovenia is finally moving in the right direction towards a sustainable circular economy. There is a positive trend in Slovenia in waste management, in the use of secondary raw material, and also in competitiveness and innovation. But on the other hand, the efforts will still be needed to promote and also take measures to reduce waste, or to encourage the reduce of waste and its return to production processes. There will also be a need to increase investment in companies that recycle and also reuse materials, and to boost investment in the preparation and use of recyclable materials. But overall, we need to change our consumption patterns, and we need to think about more digital support to facilitate circular approaches. And I think it's really important that we measure our progress continuously with clear indicators. In my opinion, the biggest challenge is to realize that circular economy concerns all of us and also all policies. There needs to be a shift towards a cross-sectoral cooperation, because circular economy is not just another policy, but needs to be integrated into all levels and into all policies.
Fantastic. And let me ask, now that you've heard each other a little bit, do you have any questions for each other?
I think we all agree.
How about the audience? Y'all have any questions? There's one right over here. I'm hoping we have a microphone. Oh, what do you know? Nailed it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nora Griefan, the CEO of Cradle to Cradle NGO from Germany. And we have a regional network, a network for Cradle to Cradle regions. For example, there are big cities like Cologne in there as well. And what we always hear from them is, yeah, now they have the idea, they want to implement Cradle to Cradle and also circular solutions, but it's not that the companies, or especially not the SMEs, are not doing it, because they're most of the time the front runners we see, but it's more that the cities don't know how to actually implement it, because they also say we don't have any capacities and we are really lacking out of time to do this. So how can we do it like in an easy way? Maybe you have some ideas from your regions how you're actually deal with these problems.
Yeah, I have some ideas. First of all, I think we can be launching customers for some products. If it comes to, for example, in our municipality or our region, we are very good at bio-based materials, the biocomposites or something like that. We already bought some bio-based bridges. So for our zoo, we have some walk paths to our zoo, and the bridges are from biocomposites. So we can we can purchase products from the SMEs to be the launching customer. I think that's the first step, but we can do it with national or European level. We have to change the rules, the regulations, because I think you can stimulate with new regulations. For example, the percentage of virgin material versus recycled material in a new product, make it cheaper, so you stimulate. And I think there are a couple of possibilities.
And Danielle, you had some thoughts?
Yeah, I think that your question also is dealing with the competencies and how competencies need to be upskilled or reskilled. And I can bring this experience because when we start with thinking about how to deal with the green competencies, all of us starting in mapping how many degrees we have, how many vocational educational training we have, how many lifelong learning programs we have in order to, let me say, push the participation and go into our green competencies. But then we realize, and this was on a second step, that sometimes the companies, as the circular economy is so huge as thematic, is so complicated in terms of interrelation, they really don't know what they need. So you can offer, but they really internally don't know what kind of offer to select, because it's more eco-design that they need, is more something that is expert on dealing with the end of line or efficiency of the process. So this is what we experience, and now we are changing a little bit the concept, and it's not a matter of having the offer, because the offer is there, but it's to help the company to select in the after. Yeah.
And maybe it's important also not to be restrictive. We have legislation, we have just now a lot of laws, and it's going to come more, but I think that we have to show it as an opportunity. I think that we can achieve new business model based on circular economy, that they are going to born in a circular economy model. That is very important. So we work a lot in so that it could be a opportunity, not only for SMEs, but also for cities or municipalities, because you are going to improve your green areas, your air quality, so it could be better for you, for all of us. So that, I think that is very, very important. We work on it, and we work making diagnosis. I think that if you want to change your model, you must know where, how, and so you maybe you can't achieve change your business model, but maybe one of your products here, or one of your process, or you can start with a project. So we make with 4 people, we make diagnosis, and we give all the SMEs a roadmap how to implement circular economy in their companies. So I think that is a good start for business to know how to implement the circular economy in an individualized way.
And in addition, the question was, the SMEs are ready, you say, about the technological innovation. But I think there's more to it, and I think Mrs. Molyneux and Mr. Montalvo already said we need a societal change. So also the consumers must be aware of a lot of things, but also the municipalities or the authorities. Everyone needs to know what's possible, because we have to create the awareness, and for that, in our region, we developed a model, likewise a TRL, the technological readiness from products, but also we have now plastic. That's appropriate name, but it's with an E, and it stands for it stands for policy, logistics, economics, social acceptance, technology, innovative design, and corporate governance. And that's, for example, plastic in our region with the universities of applied science, the university in the green-wise circular plastics. We already developed that model, and I think it's a model we can use all, because we have to be aware of the societal change, and it's already mentioned by the speaker. So that's the key factor. But how to do it? Yeah, if you got the key, I will talk to you.
Yeah.
So did you want to jump in? No. I want to ask a different question, which is about empowering local communities. Specifically, how do you engage with and empower local communities in the transition towards circular? And Janja, maybe we start with you.
Yeah. So in Slovenia, local communities are very diverse. For example, the smallest municipalities has just over 1,000 inhabitants. So these municipalities have smaller administration and also fewer resources to circular approaches. And an important mechanism that promotes circular economy in Slovenia is also green public procurement. So in Slovenia, we have a project, Life IP Care for Climate project, which is actively promoting green public procurement, which I said before is mandatory in Slovenia. The leading partner of this project is our ministry. Within this project, we organize seminars, tailor-made workshops, we prepare conferences, also prepare expert materials, run an active help desk, and also participate in the amendment of Green Public Procurement Regulation and many other activities. we have found that both public procurers and suppliers need our active support. So given the volume of GPP devoted to public procurement, the GPP is an important part of the circular economy. This project also addresses some other topics, food waste, sustainable construction, mobility, with 14 included partners from private, non-governmental, and also public sectors. As I mentioned before, Slovenia has some really good local circular projects. One of them is Novi Krog project, which is being implemented in the municipality of Novo Mesto. This project addresses the issue of closing local material loops, analyzes material flows, promotes circular public procurement, and they will also set a circular innovation center which offers education for procurers and suppliers for green and circular solutions. They organize innovative events and many other things. I think that we have some really good projects in Slovenia. We have some really good stakeholders, but we have many challenges ahead to do. I think it's rightly so.
Great. Anyone else want to jump on that question? Fantastic. Well, how about the audience? Are there more questions out in the house? There's one right there, smack dab in the middle. And we're just taking our time getting you that microphone. Just pass it along.
Hi, I'm Mairi from Estonia, and thank you for mentioning the green public procurement topic, because that's also something that is discussed in Estonia, because the public sector is a huge consumer in a way. They source, more than 10% of the GDP in Estonia. And I'm wondering now, extending it to others as well, like how is it in the Netherlands and in Navarra? Like, do you have it also mandatory as in Slovenia, or do you have, that 50% of the procurements are having the green tick, or are you also walking the talk in that sense?
Yeah, well, we have the public procurement, green public procurement, so we try to apply it in most of our purchase. We don't have. I think that we don't have an objective to achieve, but we always work with this. We have in the environmental department waste law and legislation that is with this, and we are working on it because we think that we have to be a good example from the others, because we have to do it, and I think that we have to do the same as you, that we have to do it by mandatory. Yeah.
I don't know if we have any laws or rules or regulations on it, but I know as our municipality will strive to do as most as possible when it comes to circularity, because you can only lead by example, and therefore we are always looking for the opportunities to buy and to purchase or procure green products.
Yeah, I can say that in the Emilia-Romagna region we have this obligation only for the tender that deal with the Emilia-Romagna. So if I create the tender, I can impose the green public procurement, and indeed we do it together with also the CAM. The minimum criteria for the environment, sorry, CAM is in Italian, but we cannot generalize to the other public sectors or private, especially the private one. No, we cannot do it.
Other questions in the house? Good, because I've got my own question. Looking ahead, what emerging trends or opportunities do you see for advancing circular economy objectives, and how can you leverage these trends to drive further progress?
We have now this Navarra Circular Hub, that is a public-private association, and we work with this quadruple list that you said before, because we work with the public sector, private sector, technological center, and society, because we work for the citizens. So we are working fostering the adoption of circular economy, promoting training, and boosting knowledge. We have now more than 50 collaborators that are clusters and association, business association, that help us to implement the circular economy in our region. But we also have companies, more than 155 companies added and affiliated to this hub. And we are working with all of them in this individualized way that I said before, with these roadmaps and with diagnosis, but we also take the aspects in common to work with them as a regional challenge. So we have different challenges when we are going to start working with them. For example, waste, agro-food waste, that is important for us, remanufacturing workshops and so on. So we work with all of them. And for us, it's very important, this public-private collaboration, but also to, inside the public sector, to work with environmental department, that is which have the regulatory aspects, and with foreign action department for all the alliance with all of European context.
Yeah, and now, for example, I see that the interest is growing, the awareness is growing, but also we mentioned already there's no playing level field, and in order to drive the progress, we have to do something about that. And I already mentioned the plastic model, but for example, a logistic, you have to shift your mind, because sometimes we think too difficult. For example, a company in our region has made a fantastic innovation, and everyone is thinking, okay, we have to bring the plastics to them because they can rejuvenate the plastics. But no, the company says, no, don't bring all the waste to me. We'll come to you with our technology and we'll make it there. So it's a mind shift. It's not logical to get the carbon footprint with all the waste to us, but we'll come to you, collect it there, and we'll make our company there. And that's also a mind shift you have to do. So the societal change, but also the economical thinking has to change. So I think that's one thing I want to point out.
That's great. And Danielle, Janja, any idea looking ahead?
Yeah, I will say that all the time it's difficult to identify the trends that the company will bring to us, asking for money and so on. What is clear that all the time this request is higher and higher. So the demanding in investment is higher than the regional call that we can deliver for them. So this is why we created, in this case, a basket bond for sustainable investment. This model of basket bond is like a mini bond guarantee fund of 25 million euros that will be able to leverage 100 million of investment from the private. So we are going to launch it. We expect that we will get a new concept for the company in order to invest more on circular economy. But we will see, because for us it's new.
I've got a good feeling. Janja?
Thanks. Just in one sentence, I think that crucial is very good cross-sectoral cooperation, and we need to shift from the purchase of goods to the choice of services.
Fantastic. And Janja, while you're speaking, while you've got the floor, we've just got just a couple of minutes left in this panel, but I know you had something special you wanted to tell everybody.
Yes. The particular challenge we have set ourselves as a state in Slovenia is to organize the Hotspot conference in next year. So I would like to kindly invite you to meet us in Slovenia next autumn. For you, the participants, it will certainly be a pleasant experience in a small but very diverse Slovenia, which has a lot to show in the field of circular economy. So see you next year in Slovenia.
And I know, so this is a, I can't tell if this is a stupid or a brilliant question. We'll find out in a moment. We've said a lot to these folks. If you had to leave them with just one sentence, what would that one sentence be before we close off the panel?
Lead by example.
Lead by example, fantastic. Different sentence? Anyone? Lead by example is pretty good.
Be inspired from the bottom?
Be inspired from the
From the bottom.
from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Bottom up inspiration.
Yeah,
That's great.
nice. Yeah.
Fantastic. We'll leave it from there. Lead by example and be inspired from the bottom up. Folks, how about a round of applause for our panel? And if you want, we've got one final word of wrap-up, but I say the five of us just stay here, and then it'll be like a three-dimensional audience for Bridget. I think she's going to love it. We've had a little bit of a walk through these different regions, and I think we've seen some similarities and a couple of differences between how they're approaching and tackling the circular, the transition in all of their regions. But I think it makes sense to end with remarks and reactions from Bridget again, if we get you up on stage. This time wearing a different cap, though, that of the Belgian presidency, and the different point of view that comes along with it. Bridget.
Okay, first of all, the sentence I've remembered from this panel is see circular economy as an opportunity for all of us. So I think if you have to remember something from these 2 days, remember this one. So we need to invest more in the circular economy, and it is clear that governments need to create the right conditions. I understand level playing field quite enough. I've heard it in several sessions, so also the European Union can create this level playing field. But we also need to do this internationally. That is very important. We also need to learn from each other and act together on the different levels. We need these different levels, but we also need this transversal and horizontal approach if you really want to change society and change the economy. People, we are changing the economy. We make a new economy. So therefore, we need to get involved, everybody in the system. Therefore, these circular hubs are very important, that we create these hubs at different levels. Just to jump maybe to the day of tomorrow, in the afternoon at 2:30, we have a session on the circular hubs, where we show another 10 good examples of circular hubs and a good panel discussion. It's in the 100th hall. I hope that the hall is going to be too small, because it's really important to have these hubs all over the place at every level, multi-sectoral, cross-border, whatever. So be there tomorrow as well to continue this conversation. And I love it that we are with so many of these circular hubs. It gives me a good spirit to continue the next years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bridget. And keep your applause going for Shot, Danielle, and of course our panel, Waksoy, Guido, Daniela, and Janja. And thank you all very much for being here, part of this discussion.